Right now we're going to welcome in Mark Trible of the Courier Post. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Sully.
What's happening, boss?
Hey, man, I just started getting jacked up about Frankel and Costco on the mic. I mean, on the 1-2s. How could it get any better than that, man?
That's a starting lineup, man. That's varsity right there.
That's beyond varsity. That's
we don't bust out the JV for opening night. Come on, man.
That's a big one.
Oh man, Wildwood Catholic and Holy Spirit. I mean, what fortunate fan bases. Those two guys do a great job on the mic.
Hey, Mark. Mike McGarry had a neat idea. We should start doing a jersey, sort of a jersey trade like they do in soccer. So get some Courier Post gear, and we'll trade next time I see you at a game.
Yeah, I do one of those.
You don't have to take your shirt off. You don't have to take your shirt off on the court. So just bring a T-shirt with you.
Well, I'm a little bit intrigued that Mike McGarry came up with this idea. This doesn't sound like Mike McGarry's type of idea. I'll talk to him afterwards.
I didn't even know he watched soccer.
Yeah, I don't know. He watches everything, man. He knows everything's going on.
So we'll have to make that a tradition. You got to scare up some Courier Post gear.
I might have to start making some. I don't know that we have any.
I had the idea.
I'll take a Matt Pack shirt. Being that I was one of the original members.
Matt Pack shirt.
Well, the Matt Pack shirt certainly could come your way, Sully. If it wasn't 3 years and counting, you promised me a Glory Days beanie or T-shirt, and not once when I see you have you ever had one or mentioned it in person. So I'm still a little offended.
A little salty about that, huh?
I am. I'm calling you out in front of your radio audience. Give me a beanie. I don't have any hair. Let me live. Let me thrive here, Sully.
I had the idea of a Trible hats off T-shirt. It's just a T-shirt with the fedora on it.
Yes.
You hand those out like the Matt Pack T-shirt as well.
Yeah, I think I love the idea, Nick. And anytime you could, let's get some merchandise going. Let's start
right.
generating some extra bucks.
Some swag.
Some self-promotion, too.
That's right. You never have enough. Absolutely.
So what's going on, Mark?
Not much, man. Season's over. We released all our All-South jersey stuff yesterday online. It'll be in Sunday's Courier Post. I think it's going to be in Monday's Daily Journal for that area. So, it's just closing another chapter, another season.
So you get to take a day off or what?
Yeah, I'm actually taking the weekend off, which is nice. Watch the Army-Navy game today and watch the Birds tomorrow and, get back to it on Monday, start working on wrestling stuff.
Have you ever been to the Army-Navy game? I've always been wanting to go, but, man, the tickets are crazy expensive.
I have not, and it is on my bucket list. Actually, the first football game my mother ever went to way back when was Army-Navy. Yeah.
Well, my dad was in the Air Force, so I don't know. I guess I would have to root for Navy because I used to date a girl whose dad was in the Navy. So.
Well, it depends how it went, with you and the girl. It doesn't sound like it was too great.
No, it went well. We parted ways. Kind of one of those things where your life takes you in different directions, but no ill will.
Okay. Well, we all been there. Still, I'm gonna root for Army as always. My old man was in the Army.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going with Army. So beat Navy. That's kind of my message today. They finally won a couple in a row. I think they won.
Yeah. I think they're going for 3 in a row.
Years in a row. Yeah. So go Army.
But man, the pageantry around that game is just awesome to see.
Yeah, I was going to say, Sully, you said you always wanted to go. You're one of a long list, and I'm on that list. I think it's a bucket list type of item to see that and be a part of it. It gives you chills just to watch it on TV. What a great event that kind of Philadelphia is known for, right? They've hosted the majority of them, I believe, and it's cool to be a part of that up in this area. Certainly, I always like watching them march out in formation and they sing the alma maters afterwards, and whoever wins sings it second.
Yep.
Just very, very cool stuff.
We had a local guy a couple of years ago, Calvin Cass from St. Augustine, playing in that game, so had a little bit of local flavor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there have been a number of kids who've made that journey from around here. So, college football. How cool is it, Sully, to watch some of the kids you covered play college football in general? I mean, Jonathan Taylor won the Doak Walker Award the other night.
Yeah.
2 years ago, I saw him run for close to 400 yards against Woodbury. And, I mean, how cool is that? I mean, you're watching this guy go up on the stage. It's unbelievable.
You're like, I interviewed him when he was 16.
Yeah, it's really a thrill. That never gets old. That part of this job never gets old if you're fortunate enough to cover somebody like that. And I'm grateful I have been, but congrats to JT and the Salem community for that coveted trophy. Hopefully next year, I told him this next year, bring home the Heisman.
Right.
There's no more hardware left but the Heisman. Got to get it done.
Yeah, I remember interviewing Mike Trout when he was 15-year-old sophomore in a playoff game, and he was all, nervous and braces and how you are when you're 15 and, trying to think of the right words to say and, really hadn't been interviewed much at that point in his career. And it's cool to see him now as, basically the best player in major leagues.
No, it's remarkable. And the career Mike Trout's already had is just what a source of pride. He and Jordan Burroughs, Carly Lloyd, some of the area athletes. This is really a special region, Sully. I don't know how many people who grew up here or are only kind of indoctrinated to this region understand it, but it really is special. People care so much about sports and invest so much time from the youth coaches up. Just really is a unique area.
Makes our job fun, Mark, and it was another fun football season. Give me some of your hot takes on this season, and I think it was one of the more interesting and fun seasons, even though the weather was tough to really go through the last couple of years. I mean, we had some great storylines pretty much all throughout the season.
Yeah, I was talking to my boss and our buddy, a collective buddy here, Tom McGurk, yesterday about it. It was really kind of an up and down, a roller coaster season. If you look at it, I think there were some things that really were unfortunate. I think of Camden Catholic, the fallout of Nick Strom being fired, and kind of he ends up landing on his feet, and that ends up helping a lot of teams. And the Irish certainly had a tough season this year. Hopefully they'll be back at it soon. But you look at what happened to St. Joe, also unfortunate. But then there were great moments too. I mean, there were some super players, and Nick Cargman set some state records. Jada Byers is unbelievable. And we had some new customers as well. I like what Willingboro did under Coach Steve Everett. They won a group championship for the first time, and in a long time, if not the first time, I don't remember, but Burlington Township undefeated regular season.
Yeah, Clearview had a great season.
Yeah, Clearview makes it to a final for the first time in 32 years. It really was a unique season. There were ups and downs, and certainly I think the only consistent thing, Sully, we had were pretty much Haddonfield, Williamstown, Pennsgrove, and the rain.
Yeah.
I mean, that was about it, man. We had those four things going every week that we could count on. Aside from that, it seems like nowadays things do zig and zag a little bit more, but what a pleasure to be out there on Friday nights, Saturday afternoons, meet these kids, see what they go through and how hard they work. And it really is special to be invited into that portion of people's lives.
Talking with Mark Trible of the Courier Post. And Mark, one thing that really struck me about this season was really kind of the blueprint for sustained success from Haddonfield, just the mental toughness they showed throughout the season. Everybody was coming after them. You beat that team. It says something about your season, and nobody could get to them. No matter what happened, they stuck together. Gabe Kloss kind of leading that defense, the Foley boys on offense, and the little Foley kid playing quarterback, just taking shot after shot and stepping back up and jawing at a defensive lineman. And this team was really, the mental toughness they showed was really uncommon in a high school team.
Yeah, certainly, and to see how their season kind of evolved. The first 4 weeks they beat Pleasantville and Cinnaminson, and they're 4-0, and they beat some pretty good teams, but some pretty good Group 2 teams. So, it's kind of expected. They brought a lot back off a championship team, and even last year they had some injuries, so they're healthy. They finally rounded into form, 4-0. Really, the date you circle is when they went down to St. Joseph and won that game 22-15. As now, then your season changes where you're not just happy to be on top of Group 2, you're right up there as the top team in South Jersey, and the target's on your back. You end up seeing Pleasantville again. You beat your rival West Deptford the next week after that St. Joe game. You have to beat a very tough Camden team to win South Jersey title. There were just, I think the season evolved for Haddonfield in a way that they were equipped to handle it. Certainly a giant hats off to Coach Delano and his staff. They were our team of the year, and I think for good reason, Sully. I think they were the best team in South
I don't think you can argue with that.
Yeah, Williamstown was very good too. I mean, not to take away from the Braves what they accomplished,
right?
Because they were really gangbusters. And
yeah, those were pretty much, those two kind of separated themselves from everybody else, I think.
Oh, without question. They were 1 and 2 at least for the second half of the season for us, and they were definitely head and shoulders above. And I'll tell you what, Williamstown brings back a lot more than Haddonfield does, and that's not to say the Haddons won't be there in the end, because they seem to be, they've won 5 of the last 9 titles. But I really feel like Williamstown could be that preseason number 1 team. They do have to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback. I think Dougie Brown, the sophomore, will step up and will be a junior next year. They have some talented backs and some skilled players. Their defense, though, was remarkable, Sully, and I think they bring 9 or 10 starters back. So I look for the Braves next year to be right here in the thick of it. Haddonfield will have a little different course, like you mentioned, the Foley's leadership, David Smith, Gabe Klaus, but they always find a way to fill those gaps.
Mark, we got a minute or two before we let you go here. Drop some names on us, man. These wrestling fans are itching to get started, man, and they're all about the names. Who's who? Drop a couple names on us. Who you're looking out for in wrestling?
Well, you got to start in Paulsboro, and they have a handful of them. Off the top of my head, I think Santina Marina is one of our better wrestlers. He was a first-team All-South Jersey football selection, too. A great kid. Look for him in one of those upper weight positions, maybe 195. I'm not sure exactly. Brandon Green, George Worthy, 2 other Paulsboro guys, Gabe Honorado. They will certainly be our number 1 team. I don't have any reservation in saying that. Elsewhere, you take a look around. Lucas Ravana, state champ last year. He's at Camden Catholic. Kingsway will have a handful of kids. You look at Mackenzie Bell, Taney Kinner, the last of the Kinners. Of course, he'll be great. And St. Augustine. I like Mike Masita. I like Sal Manera. I like a handful of their kids. They might not be state champions this year, but they will be an excellent team. And certainly you're going to see David McCullough at Clearview, another very good wrestler. Andy Clark, Collingswood. We could go on forever, Sully. We could go on forever, man. There's so many names of wrestling, so many weight classes. We're going to see how the girls' tournament shakes out this year.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
First year ever doing that. It's going to be a great winner. Don't
sleep on my boy Kevon Berry over at Oakcrest, man. That kid's he's a grown man.
Dude, Kevon's been great, from the start, and he's had an excellent. Drew Musley does a great job down there, certainly with the Falcons. So EHT always has a couple kids. It's going to be. Don't forget about Ralph Pallone, our buddy.
Oh yeah,
you got to get him on the radio, Sully. Man, I love talking to Ralph. He can talk forever.
We'll have a little half-hour wrestling jam session one of these days. Get you on a little what do you call that? Tri-calling, whatever. Can we get more than one guy on a phone at one time?
A conference call.
Conference call.
I don't think with these phones. No, I think you can only get one guy on.
We'll get Ralph in studio.
No, all right.
Well, let's figure it out. I'll bring some Mad Pack T-shirts. We'll call it a day, Sully.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate it, Mark. As always, plenty of wrestling to talk about in the coming weeks. So keep your notebook filled up and handy, man. We'll be turning to you for all your knowledge.
Hey, you got it, brother. It's all I know how to do. Have a good one, and like I said, go Army, beat Navy.